Hi, welcome to our tutorial of supported bridge. If you haven't yet spent any time with our breathing basics and why it matters video, would go back to that video for a minute or two and just spend some time understanding the basic function of the breath through the torso. We're going to layer onto that in our experience of supported bridge, because what we're doing in supported bridge is lifting the hips up a little bit so that the weight that typically rests in the hips and pelvis can come out a little bit, and we can actually repattern some of the deeper hip and pelvic floor muscles that contribute to breathing patterns. What this helps us do over time is balance out the breath, balance out the nervous system, so that we're better equipped to self-regulate and actually release some of the tension that contributes to stress, anxiety, emotional states, even some of the tension that we carry in the upper shoulders when these muscles start to overcompensate for the deep hip muscles. Okay. So, Monica, as you're ready, go ahead and lie down. At home, if you have a yoga block that you can use, that's great. Or a shoebox works just as well if it's sturdy and stable. Or you can even stack like a couple strong cookbooks, anywhere between 4 and 8 inches, depending on what you're comfortable with. Right? So Monica is lying flat on her back with her feet on the floor, with her feet about hips width apart. Notice at home if you're turning your feet in and out a little bit, see if you can get them pretty much parallel. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to press into your feet, press into your shoulders, and lift your hips up. The block, or whatever you're using to support your pelvis, will slide right under the lowest part of the hips, almost to the tailbone, really almost underneath your seat. Yeah, either on that lowest, or if you're using a block, the middle level might be more comfortable. Totally up to you, whatever feels good. And then as you settle the weight of the hips down there, if you feel like it takes effort or energy for you to be holding your legs in place, you might actually take your feet a little bit wider and take your heels a little bit wider than that and let your knees drop in. Monica, how's that feel? Yeah. Good. So what that does for us is it helps some of the deeper hip and groin muscles relax into place so that gravity is really kind of doing the work to invite that relaxation. Right? And then with the pelvis fully supported here, we'll take a few deep breaths, moving the inhale to expand through the torso and the exhale to contract through the torso. If it feels comfortable to you and you want to move the breath a little bit deeper, you might also play with the exhale, finding a little bit of a squeeze of the sit bones towards each other, the two bony points in your seat, without actually gripping the seat muscles. Right? So those deep internal muscles of the pelvic floor find a little bit of engagement at the end of the exhale. When you're ready to come out, or if you find that the block isn't comfortable for this, you'll bring the feet back in line with the hips, so a little bit closer together. Good. Press down into the feet to lift the hips up. Good. And then you slide the block right out of the way and you bring the hips the whole way back down to the ground. When the hips touch down, you'll let the heels come out a little bit again. Let the knees drop together again. And take a couple of breaths. Yeah, you can definitely take hands to the belly, the ribs, the chest, anywhere that they're comfortable for you to relax. And then take a couple big clearing breaths, maybe even feeling for widening the low back into the ground. Right? Especially if you've been on the block for a couple of minutes, which I fully support, I fully recommend as long as it's comfortable for you. Sometimes when we come out, it's a little bit uncomfortable to reground through the back of the hips. So really take this opportunity to bring your awareness into whatever those sensations are and to offer them some breath to reset. Right? Before we wrap up, we'll also just show you what it looks like to do this practice, not with a block, but with a blanket, or at home, maybe if you prefer to use a towel or a couple of pillows, right? You'll fold it up so that you have a little cushion to work with. And then same concept, right? You bring the feet about hips width apart, lift the hips up, and then that support lands really toward the base of the spine, almost the whole way under the seat, so that the pelvis can really just land. And then again, if it feels like you're holding your legs in place, or it takes energy to keep them up, you'll let the knees drop towards each other and the feet come a little bit wider, so that the structure of the body, the bones really, can just relax into gravity. Okay. And then again, we just find some nice deep breathing. We maybe find a little bit of engagement at the bottom of the exhale, squeezing the sit bones towards each other. If at home it feels stressful or challenging or uncomfortable for you to be taking deep breaths, that's okay. Let it go for now. Invite yourself instead simply to receive the support of the ground beneath you, receive the support underneath the hips and pelvis here, and invite yourself just to be here. Again, when you're ready to come out, you'll bring the feet parallel, about hips width apart. Press down into the ground to lift the hips up. Slide that support out from underneath you. Let the hips land. Let the knees drop in. Let the whole thing go for a couple of breaths. Inhaling to expand and exhaling to relax. When you're ready to come out fully, you'll roll over to one side. Press the palms into the ground to lift the torso back up. And just take a moment to kind of resettle. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Otherwise, breathe deeply and be well.